It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Welcome to Sober University, your next step to successful recovery, with Cheryl Adler, who says if you are going to crave anything, crave living life to the fullest. Maximize all you have and squander nothing. This program provides information to help you get your physical, mental, and spiritual house in order. And now, the host of Sober University, Cheryl Adler.
Good evening and welcome to a fabulous show. Tonight we explore the role of healthful eating in one's sober lifestyle and why it is so essential. Many addicts suffer from malnutrition. They may have a sweet tooth, they may eat fast food and junk food. Tonight we will take a tasty look at how easy and exciting it is to eat well and to enjoy good health and vitality. And on that upbeat note, let me say welcome to Diane Hotch, founder and CEO of the Food Evolution located in Bardonia, New York. And she is here to whet your appetite, please your palate, and entice your imagination with the joys of food and easy cooking. Diane can be reached at her website, thefoodevolution.com, and you can also call her at 845-507-0260. Listeners, please join us tonight in our chat room at rocklandworldradio.com. We'd love to hear from you. We welcome your comments and your questions. And please also call us at 845-353-2910. Diane, without any further ado, here we are. Welcome.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and we would like it if you could begin just by giving our listeners a little history about who you are and about the Food Evolution.
Well, thank you. The Food Evolution is a nutrition and cooking center that I built with the help of others, of course, a year and a half ago in Bardonia. It was a restaurant space that I took over and built a beautiful home kitchen, but we seat up to 16 people for hands-on cooking classes. We do groups, lectures, and it's such a warm, inviting space for people who want to learn to cook, to come and to create new recipes, as well as nutrition education. So our classes are both nutrition and cooking classes combined. For me, I think it started when I had children, and I saw that people weren't cooking as much anymore.
They weren't.
No.
They were just running out and grabbing fast food because it was quick.
That's right. And it was surprising to me because I do love to cook, and I was cooking for my children real food, and their friends would come over and be eating vegetables and salmon and things that their parents were shocked that they were eating.
Very shocking to eat a salmon.
Or a salad.
Things that we take for granted as just such a natural part of our everyday diet. And what you're saying is that for many people it's foreign not to eat well. And that's really why I have invited you here tonight, is really to acquaint people or reacquaint them to the joys of eating whole foods.
That's right.
So what can you share about your philosophy at the Food Evolution that really welcomes people and invites them and inspires and motivates them? Even somebody like myself who loves to eat well, but admittedly my kitchen skills are going to need your help very soon.
Well, the truth is, then I realized that it is so simple. It's not rocket science eating healthy. The planet gives us everything we need. It's about returning to basics, whole foods, fruits and vegetables. And our philosophy is truly that it's all about adding in, not taking away.
Right, and what do we call that?
It's
The crowding...
Well, the crowding out theory
really
does say that when you add healthy food into your diet, that is what your body starts to naturally crave. And those are the foods that you want to have.
But you may not know that right away. You may have to really wake up your sleeping, dormant taste buds.
Well, isn't that true?
Right.
Well, packaged foods contain artificial colors, sweeteners, much salt, so the sodium content's huge.
Sky high,
and sugar.
Yes.
So there are all these food additives that are quite addictive.
Yes, that's a good point, that they are addictive.
They are highly addictive. Sugar is as addictive as cocaine is, which is certainly a fact that's frightening. And when you change back by adding in beautiful whole foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, that is what your body naturally craves.
Exactly right. So can you share with our listeners the kind of classes and services that you offer at the Food Evolution?
Well, so I did go back to school and become certified as a nutritional health counselor. I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which taught about all the different dietary theories around the world.
So you studied different cultures.
Yes, yes.
Very interesting.
So interesting to see how certain foods are prevalent amongst all cultures, such as garlic, onions, carrots, basic root vegetables.
You know, just the way you say the words, I feel hungry.
I do love food.
You make everything sound very juicy.
I do love food. And you know, we have a very strange relationship to food these days.
Yes, what would you say it is?
Quite dysfunctional, actually.
Yes.
People feel guilty about eating. They feel that they shouldn't eat too much, that they need to be careful, they need to monitor themselves. I love to eat. We love to eat at the Food Evolution. And you can eat delicious food and a lot of it. You don't need to deprive yourself. And that is truly one of the other things that I think is important to talk about, which is the fact that food can support you. Food can nourish you.
Which is very essential for anybody who's in recovery, is the amount of support that one gets. We talk about support by going to therapy, by going to 12-step meetings, by surrounding yourself with people, places, and things that are really in support and in the love and best interest of your well-being, of not using your drug of choice, not self-medicating. But I think it's essential that we add to our discussion the role, the value, and the great importance of eating well.
So true. And food is medicine. Good food.
Good medicine.
Good medicine and good food is highly contagious. It's something you crave. I crave green smoothies.
Tell us about your green smoothies.
I love my green smoothies. They make me feel energized and full and alive. I put avocado, kale, lime, cilantro.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a special blender, though. You can't just blend that up in, a regular blender. But this is what my body craves, are these greens that are full of life. But start simple, because green smoothies took me a while to get addicted to also, truthfully speaking.
I was going to say that's something that I don't think people will start off with immediately.
No.
But I think, as I have often commented, and I think I even write about it in my book, because I have a whole section in my book on wellness and food shopping and shopping the perimeter of a typical food store.
Very true.
That, and maybe we should just touch on that first before, well, I think I'll just go back to the concept that in 12-step meetings, where we see people gravitating to a table that's loaded with cookies and coffee and sugar. And although that may be okay in moderation, I think to myself, wouldn't it be wonderful if 12-step meetings could have fruit salads and bran muffins and herbal teas as well as, so that you're you're getting that message in the AA meeting as well, the 12-step meeting.
You know, I agree. And it is changing. So you'll see, even at Super Bowl parties, because the Super Bowl's coming up,
That's
right?
right.
You see people are making different choices as well, along with traditional type foods they are adding in. And as a crusader for better school food, I can tell you that that's a process, and it is changing.
Tell us about that. You are a crusader for better food for children in school.
I am passionate about that. I think from a young age, it's so important to introduce our children to real whole food because they need to learn. You know, food affects what we think. We have lost the connection between what we eat and how we feel.
That's right.
What we eat and who we are. And truly, if you think about it, if you stop to think about eating something, how does it make you feel?
Sure, sometimes the food you eat makes you want to go to sleep rather than take a wonderful, invigorating walk.
Absolutely. And nourishing yourself is very important, especially when you're at a place where you are soul searching. You perhaps might be at a lower point in your life than at others, or on an upswing, and wanting to really make a change. And if you make that decision to say, okay, I want to support myself, I'm ready to make a change, I'm unhappy right now in the place I'm at, food can support you. It can nourish you and truly be your friend.
So it can really affect your thinking, your emotions, and it can also touch on your self-esteem.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I brought that up, coming full circle when we started at Better School Food and why I'm so passionate. We want our children to learn. We want them to concentrate. We want them to think. So why would we go into school and give them a bagel, which is nothing but a white carb,
high glycemic index,
high glycemic load, sugar, up for 20 minutes and crash.
And then we wonder why there's ADD.
Well, that's a whole nother story. We won't touch upon that. We only have a shorter amount of time today, Cheryl. But
that doesn't help.
No, and certainly packaged food does not help either. So when you said about shopping the perimeter of the store.
Yes.
Very true, because that typically is where your produce is, your fruits and vegetables, and better choices, quote unquote better choices. If you are in the center of a store and you're looking for a packaged food item, read the ingredients. Read your ingredient labels.
So you're really talking about eating foods that are quite alive.
Very much so. Energy. If you're looking for energy, dark leafy green vegetables. You know, so much energy. Think about what a deer eats.
Tell us about what a deer eats.
What does a deer eat? A deer is out there in the woods eating nuts, seeds, sprouts, grass. All this natural, young, vital food. And look at them. They're sleek, they're beautiful, they're alert, they're muscular, they have energy.
They're magnificent.
Magnificent.
Yes.
And so are we.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the most beautiful thing is that given half the chance, our bodies will heal themselves. All we have to do is think about what we're putting in our bodies.
First, I think we have to become aware that we have become distanced or separate from our intuition. And to become connected to your body again, especially through the recovery process, is a real process. People have become separated from their emotions, from their bodies, from their senses. And so when we talk about using food to revitalize yourself, we're really talking about awakening your body again.
Very powerful stuff, because truthfully, think of how many times you eat a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're eating 3 meals because you don't want to eat a lot, or if you're eating 6 small meals, this is a time when you are nourishing yourself, when you're putting something in your body, and that can be a very sacred thing.
It should be a sacred thing.
Yes, and supportive of who you are, wanting to give yourself love support, nourishment,
Care.
and food can absolutely do that. And that's what we teach people on every level.
And so tell us about some of the changes that you actually witness when
Oh my
people,
gosh.
like you have the before and then you have the after.
You know, we
what do you
do.
see?
Well, two of the foods that we turn people on to the most that they get very excited about, number one is quinoa.
Is that right?
Yes, quinoa is a grain. It's actually a seed, and it's an ancient grain.
It's an Aztec grain,
Yes,
right?
it is, from the Incas. And the beautiful thing about quinoa is that it is a complete protein. It has all 8 essential amino acids, so
It's an amazing food.
it's an amazing superfood indeed. And it takes on the flavor of a lot of things you put in there, but it only takes 15 minutes to make. So unlike a whole grain like brown rice, which would take almost an hour to cook, this is 15 minutes. Very simple and easy to work with. So that's a wonderful food. And kale.
Kale, who would think?
Kale, in fact, just the other day, I had a retired couple in a class during the day, and they were so lovely. She had never tried kale. She was so excited. And she said, "Oh my God, I have a new vegetable. I love kale." And that was a great thing because people think you need milk, cow's milk, to find calcium. And in fact, dairy in general, cow's milk to me, it's quite controversial, but I think as adults we're not baby cows. I think there's so much about dairy in terms of inflammation, calcifications in the arteries, and just general knowledge that it is not great for your health. Everything in moderation, of course, and especially when it's not organic, because to have added hormones and things in our milk, that plays with us as well.
Well, that can cause illness.
Absolutely, but especially on our mental, well-being and how we feel. I know women, we're hormonal enough as it is, aren't we? So adding more hormones into
Cannot
the
be a
mix.
good thing.
No, I don't think so. But at any rate, so kale and quinoa, I have to say, are two of the foods.
These are two big hits.
Big hits, and it's wonderful to really show people how simple it is to cook these foods.
So tell us specifically, what kind of classes do you offer, and what kind of people are on your staff that assist you?
Well, on our website you could see we have an About Us page that has many of the chefs, other instructors that we have teaching. Most everyone has a degree and a background in nutrition and cooking, of course, and has a love for cooking.
You have to have a great passion for this.
You do, but you also have to be a warm and really, I want to say loving person, because we all are just, it's the way we do things at the Food Evolution. We all love what we do.
That shows for sure.
It does. We have a warm, inviting space that people truly enjoy coming to. So depending on where you're at with your cooking, if you want to first get introduced to food and all you've ever eaten is fast food and you have no idea how, what healthy food looks like, a basic knife skills class is a great class.
A knife skills class.
Yes, because when you know how to chop food properly, life becomes much easier in the kitchen. Your prep time is cut in half. You learn how to work with food. You become more comfortable. And we actually cook food in that class, too.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
So that's the class I probably should sign up for
Absolutely.
first.
You come to that one.
Okay.
We also do a Cooking with the Seasons class.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I also talk about that in my book, about seasonal fruits and vegetables. So give us an example, as we're right now entering the month of February, what kind of foods should people focus on right now?
Well, we're in the winter months, so root vegetables are really quite in abundance.
Can you give us some examples?
Butternut squash, roasted ginger beets, roasted carrots, all the different squashes and root vegetables. I mean, we roast celery root and parsnips. I don't want to get too, we might intimidate people. It's very simple, really simple, easy.
But it sounds so colorful.
Well, it is.
And it sounds like it's so filled with texture and flavor. So I don't think that my listeners will be too upset, even if we're speaking of foods that may sound foreign. Maybe it could still make them want to go to your website and check out some of the offerings that you have.
Well, it's true. And I think it's so simple as a butternut squash soup. It's so easy to make.
And soothing.
And soothing.
The texture alone and the color of it, I can just smell it right now as we're talking.
Yeah, and the other thing is that roasted root vegetables help prevent sweet cravings. So we know
that's so important.
Yes, because coming off of sugar addiction,
yes,
like any addiction, we want to add food in that's going to support us.
Absolutely.
So roasted root vegetables with garlic, olive oil, ginger, all health supportive, wonderful ingredients. And we show you how simple it is to prepare. A Cooking with the Seasons class does go by the principles of Ayurvedic medicine, which is from India.
Yes, explain that to our listeners.
Well, it truly is about eating with the seasons. And you think about what is naturally coming from the earth in the area that you live.
So it's also about the region in which you live.
Oh, absolutely. And that is what our bodies need at the time.
Because it's the most natural to us.
That's right. It's very warming and filling. Now in the colder weathers where we create soups and stews and we're roasting vegetables.
See, I think that's intuitive and instinctive. And if you're not connected to those instincts, I think coming to your school is a place to become connected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, like I said before, it's really not rocket science. It's so easy. And that's what I love. That's the other piece. When that light bulb goes off and people realize, wow, I can really do this.
It's simple.
It's simple.
I want to really emphasize that it's real simplicity.
Yeah. Sautéing greens, it's simple and delicious and nourishing and something that you can feel good about. Feel good about giving to yourself and loving yourself and nourishing yourself, because we deserve that.
Absolutely.
Each and every one of us deserves to live that kind of a nourished, loving, happy, full life.
Without a doubt.
As you say so eloquently.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, true.
Go back and tell us some more about how you're educating children, because that is so critical. Because kids are so busy sitting in front of video games and television sets, and they're inundated with advertising. And the advertisements are really enticing them to eat garbage.
It's frightening. It's actually quite criminal if you think about it, how we allow food companies to market to our children. And it was so infuriating to me that was one of the reasons I opened the Food Evolution. Crusading for better school food, I realized just how political it actually is. I went to Washington to speak to Senator Gillibrand's office.
Isn't that something?
Truly that far into it.
You're very committed if you had done that.
I love children. The children are our future, the future of this planet. It's unfair that we should be feeding them food that we know is going to make them sick. And just the fact that if children continue to eat the way that they do today, they will live a life shorter than that of their parents. There's something wrong with that. So
very wrong.
Right? So we as adults have to lead by example as well. And that was my whole crusade in schools, by saying, are you teaching your children to eat brownies and ice cream for a birthday party at 10:30 in the morning at home? Because in school, we have a responsibility to teach them proper habits, and in terms of nutrition, what is healthy and what's going to help them become healthy adults. And I love the work that's recently been done around better school food by a lot of different people, Michelle Obama being one of them with her Let's Move campaign. I have to tell you, it's made a huge difference because I was a crusader before she stepped into office and after, so I give her a lot of thanks and credit for that. Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution, how it takes an Englishman to come here and crusade, but I'm thankful for him that he is, and realizing that we need to. But getting back to, truthfully, who is shopping for the children?
Who is shopping for the children?
It's the adults. And that's why I said, and a lot of parents will say, oh, do you have classes for kids? Do you have classes for children? Can I send my son? Can I send my daughter? And I said, our theory is that we like to teach the parents, the people who are shopping for them, and then you can teach them in your home, and it's a wonderful bonding experience to cook together. So we do both.
It's a great sharing experience.
Yes, we do both. But I have to say that it is a wonderful way to understand about food, to connect with yourself, and really come to appreciate and love yourself by coming to one of our classes. We have a great Facebook page where I post pictures of classes, and you can see all the different kinds of people that come to us and the food that we do prepare. I do one-on-one private counseling as well, so I am a certified nutritional health counselor.
That's very good for us to know.
Yes, for people who need that
but
support.
People can consult with you privately as well as join a class.
Absolutely. And, a few sessions, a few classes, and you can be on the road to really connecting with the food you eat. That's what we like to do.
That's wonderful, Diane.
Yeah, it is great.
There's a few things in the chat room if you'd like me to...
Absolutely. Let's hear about the people in our chat room.
One is, how do you treat people who are addicted to food? That would be one. And do you treat different problems with different types of diet? Like if someone is depressed, would you suggest different foods than you would treat a drug addict?
I think those are great questions.
Those are phenomenal questions. Those are fantastic questions.
Thank you, chat roomers.
Yes, thank you. So the first question was...
If you're addicted to food.
If you're addicted to food. And food addiction is so common.
Absolutely.
It is common.
And what is the can we cut to the chase because we have only a few minutes and I really want to honor these questions.
Okay.
Could we say it's very much based on carbohydrates and
sugar
glycemic?
Addiction. It's sugar. It's processed food has us addicted to sugar. High fructose corn syrup, which is in so many things, is a sugar substitute that is highly addictive.
How about white foods like white rice, white potatoes?
Well, let's stay away from whole foods and just talk about those packaged foods for a minute because they are so important. But you're right, because the white carbohydrate, starchy food.
The white breads.
Yes, this is, the nutrient density of these foods are quite low.
The nutrients have been stripped away, so we want to encourage people to eat foods that are like whole grains.
And the rainbow,
the
colors
rainbow.
Of the rainbow.
Yes.
Get colors in your food. But yeah, sugar addiction certainly is prevalent
so we
amongst
want to
many
cut out
people.
the sugar as much as possible.
But we talked about adding in, so the crowding out theory,
yes.
When you add in all these beautiful different foods, you will naturally become a healthier eater and not addicted to the sugary foods.
You will not. You will become pleasantly attracted and enticed to eat salads, fruit salads, vegetable salads, nuts and seeds, and things that do not trigger the carbohydrate response. So I think that would answer that first question. The second question was about different diseases.
Types of diet for different ailments like
oh, absolutely.
Drug addiction or depression.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good question.
Excellent question. And I think, again, sugar is a culprit. Sugar addiction is huge. And so by adding in our dark leafy greens, our whole grains, it comes down to so many of disease, addiction, reactions to food that we have can be controlled.
Could I add something to that?
Please do. I love that.
Well, I think that disease, as we know it, is often an inflammatory condition. such as arthritis. That would be an example, or an ulcer, for example, or so that we want to take away the inflammation.
Well, sure. There are different things like nightshade vegetables, of course, you're staying away from for arthritis. And there are definitely some fantastic books out there. And I have to tell you, I love the internet because Google's a great search engine for all these questions that you can get. But truly, a whole foods diet based on whole grains, vegetables, fruits are wonderful. There are certain things, certainly you said inflammation, it's the first thing people cut out. Dairy,
Sugar.
Wheat, sugar, caffeine.
And glutens.
Well, glutens are wheat, yes,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
So a gluten-free diet for sure. So yes, there are specific things, in fact. For sure, they are.
And I don't want to shortchange the person who asked that question, because I think we would need more specific information to make the diet recommendations.
Absolutely.
So we're just keeping it very general at this moment.
And you can send questions also to my website. You can send them to info@thefoodevolution.com, and I would be happy to answer any of those specific questions as well.
That's wonderful. Any other comments or questions in the chat room?
She says, great show.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
We like
Thank you.
hearing about that, and we'd
Can
like.
you tell we like each other?
Yes,
do.
we're in sync.
We're in
and
sync.
We're
We are.
definitely going to have you back for more specifics, because it's clear that we have people who are very curious and would like to have some very concrete answers for themselves. So I think that we have to wrap it up now.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
No, that was very fast.
I know. It does go fast, because this is my home away from home, and I have a wonderful time here. And I have a wonderful producer who's immensely supportive of this show. So I always want to thank Richard for that.
Thank you, Richard.
So one more time, you can reach Diane at thefoodevolution.com. And I want to say thank you for being with us this evening. Please join me next week when Bob Pargament from the Westchester Hypnosis Center will be back by popular demand. With Valentine's Day just around the corner, Bob's going to be here to talk with us about how hypnosis can help assist you with sex, love, and relationship issues. And don't forget that you can reach me here at rocklandworldradio.com, my personal website, soberuniversity.com, and my office number, 845-358-4652. Please remember, if you're going to crave anything, crave living life to the fullest. Maximize all you have and squander nothing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Cheryl. You're wonderful.
As are you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. We'll catch you next week.
Good night.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldradio.com.